The following program is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
We are two Unks Talking TV. You know the shows that you grew up watching, like Family Matters, Facts of Life, and Three's Company too. So come and join us and take a walk down memory lane as we talk about these shows that are so nostalgic. We're just to us talking TV, and when you hear about the shows we're talking about, it's gonna jog your memory.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Two Unks Talking TV on Nighthawk Network. Thank you for tuning in. We are very much looking forward to this discussion this evening on Two Unks Talking TV. We are talking about a true classic show, and we're doing it, of course, to honor one of its stars who we lost last week, Demond Wilson. And you'll, of course, know that name because you know him to be the son of the iconic show known as what, Hugh?
Sanford and Son.
Sanford and Son. Yes, indeed. So please grab a chair, grab a drink, grab some chips, and come on in and have this discussion with us. By all means, we want to hear your comments. We want to know what your favorite show of the show was, what was favorite episode, favorite characters, all that good stuff. We want to have that discussion with y'all tonight as we take time to reminisce and remember Sanford and Son. All right, now, as usual, Hugh, I will ask you what I usually ask you. When did you first become familiar with the show Sanford and Son? Keeping in mind that when that show started in 1972, I was one and you did not exist.
My parents actually watched the reruns, man, and they had a lot of it recorded on VCR or VHS. For you guys who don't know what the heck VHS is, it's basically the VCR, the old school days, and it's basically like your DVDs and your Blu-ray discs. That's what we had back then,
That's
and
just
that's
how good that show was. Now, me myself, I became familiar with it that last season, which was 1977. At that point, keep in mind, I'm 6. So I'm watching it, and it's funny because of some of the stuff that happened, but a lot of it, of course, I obviously did not understand at age 7. But of course, what happened was it hit syndication. So by the time the early 80s came on, they started showing it on Channel 50 late night, about 11 o'clock. That's when I became familiar with the episodes and really became a fan of the show. And then, of course, later on, when I was old enough and they started having the DVDs on TV, the first official complete series set that I ever bought was the Sanford and Son series. I still got it sitting back there right now, seasons 1 through 6.
I
So
think I
yeah,
got you said to myself, man. I think I got to see what season it is, but yeah, I definitely got the box set of those as well. And this was a huge fan The barriers were broke, man, and a lot of stuff they were getting away with on TV. I didn't think they were letting people get away with that stuff, man. We didn't heard him say the N word more than we can imagine, man. So yeah, it was actually pretty good because he had a lot of stars on there too, like celebrities, low key. Yeah, that was pretty cool to see as well because a lot of them he was good friends with. So it was good to have his pool in Hollywood, with some of the actors and actresses, but yeah, man, it was actually just a really good show, man. Family oriented, and I know you know more about this, man. But one of my homeboys, Neil, is from Britain, and he was the one who put me on. Like you, man, you need to check out Steptoe and Son, man. That's where Sanford and Son got the idea from. And I saw some episodes, man, and I thought that was just as funny, man. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, now here's the thing. If you know anything about network TV, a lot of our great shows, particularly in the 70s and 80s, they do come from adoptions of British shows. Like, for example, earlier we talked about Three's Company. That was adopted from a British show. All in the Family, adopted from a British show. Even you can go into recent times. The show Big Bang Theory was an adoption of a British show. So, it's not like they did anything that we did innovatively differently. It's just that some of the concepts fit well, but we had to Americanize it to where it would fit with those audiences. I think nowadays, if a show in Britain was like a Steptoe and Son, we probably would just get that version over here in America, and we would just be seeing that on BritBox or whatever.
Yeah,
But
most
no,
definitely.
the interesting thing was it was NBC's concept that okay, right now CBS is killing us in the ratings. Okay, they had the more popular shows out at the time. When we talk in the early 70s, when you talk about shows like Mary Tyler Moore Show and 60 Minutes was extremely popular back then, a lot more than it is now. People watch 60 Minutes faithfully on Sunday. Even they news, they had the best news outlet because that's back when they had CBS News with Walter Cronkite. Everybody watched Walter Cronkite back in the day. All right, we got people checking in. Never knew that about the Big Bang Theory. Yeah, that's actually adapted from a British show. Thank you for checking in, man. We appreciate it. Like I said, keep the comments coming, y'all. We will be acknowledging you Roman Reigns style. You feel me? All right, we got somebody else checking in. Coach says Americans discover all kind of things just like land. Exactly.
I like that one. That was actually
Well
funny.
put, brother. Well put.
We appreciate that comment, Dino.
Now here's the thing, y'all. When they was trying to figure out who do we want to start this show, they come up with Fred Sanford because he had, hey, what's going on,
What's
Queen?
up, Queen?
He had a great cult following back in the day. Keep in mind, we talking about, for all intents and purposes, Red Fox was pretty much the Cat Williams of now. You know what I'm saying? In terms of popularity amongst our people. So they definitely wanted an African American to lead the show. And keep in mind, because he did have a huge friend list of people to choose from, it made sense for them to go after him to do the show. Now, keep in mind, at that point, Fred owned a nightclub in Las Vegas, one of the more popular nightclubs in Vegas, in fact, to where, he was doing comedy, but also white comedians performed there, and a lot of the big wigs in Vegas at the time, they used to hang out there. Your Sammy Davis Jr.'s, your Frank Sinatra's, people like that. They used to frequent his club all the time. So, Fred was kind of a big deal back in the day at that point. What up, Coach V? Thanks for checking in, bro. So,
I just
you know,
he introduced Ronaldo Ray. I seen Ronaldo Ray doing a comedy at one of his clubs before.
absolutely.
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah, in
big because
fact,
how small that
one of the
bro
stories I heard was one of the managers at his club at one point was one William H. Cosby. He
was.
actually used to work for Red Fox
That's
back
what's
in the
up, man.
day.
It's a small world. You said this government, William H. Cosby.
Yes, background of Harlem Nights. Exactly. That's why he was definitely key in that movie also. But anyway, he came on, and then a lot of the show's early stars, particularly in the first couple seasons, was people that he worked with at the club and on the Chitlin circuit. Back down south, like so people like Bubba Bixley, who actually was a comedian. People like remember his friend Melvin. Melvin was
Yeah,
an actual comedian. Who else? The episode with the 3 degrees. All
yeah.
his little buddies, all of them were comedians that he worked on the road with. So, he oftentimes had them on the show to not only promote them, because of course, after you go on the show, then people are like, yeah, you remember this guy from Sanford and Son, this such and such and such. So that kind of gave them more of a profile when they went back out on the road, which he still did early on in the first couple seasons while Sanford and Son was still building the audience. Road is in the house. What's going on, Road? Thank all y'all for checking in. We really appreciate y'all coming on in tonight. We liking the energy so far. Keep it going, y'all. Let us know your favorite characters, favorite episodes, favorite whatnot. In fact, halfway through the show tonight, we got a little quiz for you. How well do you know your Sanford and Son? Yeah, Hugh gonna take the quiz with you too. We want to know how well you know your Sanford and Son, but we'll get to that. Okay, Hugh, gotta ask, man. Favorite episode? What you got?
The one is two. The
Okay.
actually better yet is the Junkyard Inch one the same episode because I know that one was one of the funniest ones when they was trying to get the lady out the crib, the con artist lady. That was one of my favorites. She always
Yeah.
said how she was gonna make them some good food. Like I'm gonna make them some pork chops, some collard greens with and all that good stuff. That we like to eat. But then they threw a monkey wrench in it. Did
Yeah,
Paul
Dino
Mooney
wants to
connect
know,
with
did
Red
Paul
Fox?
Mooney connect with the Red Fox? I think it was before the show. That again was one of his friends that was the name of that episode. You right. Coffin for Sale. Oh no, actually she's saying that's one of her favorite episodes. The Coffin for Sale.
But yeah,
Now
that was
remember the
my
dude in
favorite.
that episode, he always seemed to play the creepy dude in those shows. Because if I remember right, he was also on Give It to Good Times, playing a similar role. Uncle
You
E
know,
Bucks, what's going on, Jay Gas? Thank you for checking in. We're talking Sanford and Son. You remember that show? I know you kind of on the young side, Jay, but I know you done seen Sanford and Son. What you remember about that show? But yeah, I remember that show when she tried to scam him and they found a way to get her to get up and they caught her red-handed. What else you got, Hugh?
that was one of my favorite ones, and I just always liked the camaraderie he had with Julio. Man, they always had like a little funny beef. But then I actually liked the cops that was on the show too. Man, I thought they was some cool
Midi
dudes.
and
Man,
hockey. Heck
yeah.
yeah.
Then the white cop was hip, man. He talked jab, he talked jive and all that stuff, like with the best of them. But I just thought they were some cool cops, though, man. It was
Right
fun.
in. No, on, man. On. Oh, yeah, right on.
And then the one when the thief came on there, man. The you don't know, you don't want to know. Yeah, that was another classic. Yeah,
That was the episode when he came to the door and he had the gun and he was like,
you
hold
know,
on. I
you
remember this
know,
episode, the hide and the weed episode. Do you remember that one?
was that the one when they thought it was parsley or something? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it was
It
that
was
weed.
growing in the yard, right?
And they were scared because they thought they were gonna go to jail. But yeah, that was enough, man. It's so many classic
Okay, well,
episodes.
I
Yeah.
gotta talk about some of the most famous ones. I posted a couple. First of
Mhm.
all, I'd say one of my favorite episodes was when Big Money Grip came to town
Oh
and
yeah,
claimed that he was Lamont's father.
there.
And we come
That
to
was
find out that it actually was Esther whose room he snuck in that night.
Esther was clowning on that. That was the only time you really seen her and Fred get along. Because she said,
Right.
"What?"
It's like, yeah,
Did
you ain't gonna believe this. Oh yeah, here we go.
did Esther
Bro's
say,
like,
"What?"
can I get some shampipple?
Did Esther say something crazy too? Like, "What you say, nigga?" When he said
What
that.
you say, miracle?
But yeah, that was funny because he ended up creeping in Esther's room, man. And
Yeah,
that
yeah.
made
Remember that? I think that's the name of that episode. Yeah, Queen
Mama's
came
baby.
prepared. Mama's baby, Papa's maybe. I do believe that was the name of that particular episode. But yeah, that was one of my favorites. And of course, everybody remember this one. I want my daddy's records.
Yeah, when they conned him out of them records, man. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, Coach saying, watch it, sucker.
Hey, she was always funny, man. But big ups too. I know you know more than me, but how he held her down, man. That was
Yeah,
one of
let's talk
his.
about that for a minute. Now, the lady that played Aunt Esther, her name, please. Wanda Page. Okay, LaWanda Page. Keep in mind, LaWanda Page going into that show was not an actress. She was not a comedian. She basically was like one of the dancers that used to work at his club that he got real cool with. You know, this was one of his homegirls. So he brought her in for the part of Esther. Now, initially, she was not doing a good job because she wasn't good at reading the script. And as a result, she kept making a lot of mistakes early on. So they wanted to get rid of her. So at that point, Fred went in there and was like, look, you is not getting rid of her. She is Esther. If you get rid of her, you get rid of me, and I'm done. If I'm done, it's done. Woodrow. Yeah, don't forget about good old Woodrow. Woody the
Man,
Wino. Yes, sir.
they always had a wino on the show
She
or
really
something.
wasn't ugly. Believe that. Yeah, we talked about that earlier in this week. Yeah, I wish I put that picture up. Yeah, actually, LaWanda Page back in the day was a very attractive woman.
Yeah, man, she was a model, man. I
But
couldn't have
also,
been
no,
in
not only
that
was she a
picture.
model, she was a dancer, and she also danced with this group that included somebody you also familiar with, one Eartha Kitt.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
they was buddies.
that's
I
what's
ain't
up.
know that.
Mm.
But yeah, that's how we end up with Aunt Esther and her being a part of the show. Okay, now a couple more favorite episodes. What I got? Oh yeah, it's funny how you think about these and you just instantly get to laughing because it's funny. You know what I'm saying? All right. You remember the episode when Fred was playing like he forgot he lost his memory or whatever, and he ended up getting a new TV.
And I like the fact that he always made in mostly every episode he could, man. People used to be like, "Why you treat your dad like that? And why you treat him so mean?" Because he was a manipulative dude, man. He was basically a shady cat, and people never really understood that. But Lamont always called him out on it, man, and that's what made the show so
Yeah,
funny.
Queen's like the engagement. I remember that one. That was in season one when Lamont was engaged to be married. Or no, actually, a couple. I don't know if you mean that one, Queen, or when Fred was supposed to get married. But yeah, in season one, Lamont was getting married, right? And then they
Mhm.
got to the altar and whatnot, and the family, I guess they was kind of well off a little bit or whatever. And they ain't like Fred and them. So then they got to the altar, and she was sitting there shaking like a leaf. So Lamont was like, "I do," and she was like, "Mm-mm." It's like I
See,
said, I don't.
and that was the first for me because
No,
I ain't never
season
seen
three,
that.
yeah. So yeah, she talked about when Fred got engaged.
Okay,
Yeah, you remember that? Then they had the dinner, and Donna came
man,
over and cooked, and he ended up going off on her.
yeah, he went off, man.
The writer for the show was ahead of his time. Speaking of that, you know who was
Yeah,
one of the writers for that show, right?
who was it, Paul?
Paul was one, but also the late great Richard Pryor also wrote for
Oh, that's
Sanford and Son.
man, because Paul and Richard, man, do some good stuff, man. So that's actually cool to know that they collaborated and was doing some of them shows. Paul is a genius, and I don't think he was getting the credit he deserved, man. But a lot of things happened at that time too. Season one
Man,
was
I love that y'all have done y'all research on some of these. Season one was Lamont. Here comes the bride. There goes the bride. That was the episode. I believe that was, I want to say episode three. It's either two or three.
here goes the bride, there goes the
Actually, it
bride.
was episode three because episode two was when they Fred got took out for his birthday dinner and he bought him the hat and it ended up raining on him.
But yeah, man, it was like some really good episodes that I seen with my parents, man, and it brings back a lot of good memories too, man. Because for the most part, I was too young to go out and do a lot, so I was under them watching whatever they was watching.
Say I love this. I'm glad y'all liking it so far. Like I said, keep the comments coming, y'all. We loving it, man. We
Yeah,
loving it.
we need to have something that y'all can relate more to as well, because we kind of figured like that would definitely be the case with Sanford and Son, because we was telling you guys we was going to do
Yeah,
Martin and
Queen was like, yeah, episode three. Yeah, Queen. You must got the box set too.
Queen dropping all the episodes.
Heck yeah. Okay, look. some other facts y'all may or may not know about Sanford and Son. We're gonna throw a few of them in. First of all, season 1, Sanford and Son became a huge hit. Okay, major hit, mind you. Oh yeah, here go another good episode. When Friend went to court. Remember that one? It's like,
Man, that was a classic one.
yeah, he ended up calling himself being Lamont's lawyer. And he was like, man, do you ever arrest anybody white? He was like, yeah. Like, I can't tell. Look at all these niggas in here. It's like a damn Tarzan movie. It's like, yeah, this is racist. Then the judge was like, well, hell, I'm black. Hal Jackson played one of the cops. Yeah, he played Smitty.
Ain't that my man's on played on 227 later on?
Yeah, absolutely. One and the same. Not only did you have that, but there's several other people that went on to be in a lot of shows as well. It's people that end up being on shows like The Jeffersons, 227, Facts of Life, so on and so forth. You don't count. You're the judge. Yeah, that's what he said. You right, Queen.
Pretty much he didn't, and then all the
Yep.
people
So,
went to jail.
right after season 1, Sanford and Son was the number 2 rated show in the country, behind, of course, All in the Family. Now, the funny thing is, they both kind of got some similarities. I mean, Fred and Archie was racist in a motherfucker, man. They ain't like nobody. Nobody. And the thing about it, Lamont always seemed to have a friend that was part of the minority. You know what I'm saying? Remember, he had, outside of Rollo, of course, everybody remember Rollo, but of course, he had, of course, my man's. And then, of course, he had the Chinese dude, the one, actually, it was Marita. You remember Marita, the Karate Kid. I forget what it was in the show. Somebody help me out with that one.
Did you hear about him and a situation with him and Fred that happened, man? That was actually really cool. He mentioned before, man, and he was saying that at one point he was a struggling actor and he needed money, man. And Fred gave him like crazy amount of money. I forgot who it was.
Fred actually did that for quite a few people, particularly people that he was on the circuit with.
And he was like, man,
Bubba ended up hitting on hard times, and he looked out for him.
And that's good to hear those stories, man. Because Pat Morita? Yeah, that was a
Pat
good
Morita,
dude.
exactly. And remember, he went on to be on Happy Days, and then of course to be the Mr. Miyagi, the Karate Kid. I like the episode when Fred thought he was Jewish. I remember that one. Y'all remember the episode when Fred decided he was gonna open a church and had a church at the crib, but they had to make it legit, otherwise they was gonna get in trouble. Yep, I was just about to mention that one, said Queen. Oh, yeah, you remember the episode when they walked in the house and Lamont was choking the hell out the white lady? And they're like, oh!
And they were doing when they was doing the scene from the acting class.
Yeah. They're like, oh, he done went crazy. Fred's like, yeah.
Fred was about to have the big one right there, man. It was crazy.
Oh, I'm having a big one. I'm coming to join you, honey. You choking that white woman.
Yeah, you couldn't do no stuff like that, man.
Right. Okay, now who was your favorite friend that Lamont had? I definitely got to go with Rollo, man.
Rollo was that dude, man. And then I know he was on the spinoff. What was the spinoff that he was on? Because I remember seeing episodes of that on BET at one point.
Yeah, he was on. Actually, I think he played a little bit on Sanford, the spinoff. We'll talk about that later. But also on the original spinoff with everybody else that wasn't Lamont or Fred.
Because I remember seeing that, man.
Yeah, because I think he was on that spinoff with him. Yeah, Queen is saying yes. Yeah, it basically was him. It was Aunt Esther. It was Grady. It was Bubba. All of them was on the show. It was bad, y'all. Compared to the original, it was very bad.
Yeah,
because it lasted as long as it did.
The show I was talking about, it was with Rollo and it was Rerun on it before was happening. And
Okay, that's a
like
whole nother story.
he was like, "Yeah, man, I just wanted to know if you could be my friend." And you know how they had to like the little one-liners and stuff, and he was
Yeah.
always grabbing Rerun like Fat Chance, you know. But yeah, I remember they did something before then. That's where I remember seeing them from. And
Yeah.
that was, of course, after I seen Sanford and Son, you know. That's when I seen that spinoff a little while later.
Right, and understand, y'all, this is one of those great shows because you could pretty much find this show all types of places. Again, I myself prefer to have the DVD so I can just go and check whatever episode, whatnot. But of course, they have it on Tubi. They have episodes on YouTube that you can pay for. I think they have it on Pluto. It's on a lot of different platforms where you can
You know,
check it
I
out.
ain't paying for a thing. I'm always see what I see.
Right, but man, where do I begin? Okay, first of all, you know, the thing was people auditioned for Lamont, right? And of course, Demond Wilson was not the original Lamont. When they did the first pilot, it was actually one of the dudes that ended up being in another show. Uh Something about Mama.
That's
Again,
my mama.
yeah, that's it. Clifton, I believe is what it was. Clifton ended up being the original Lamont. It didn't go down like that. But then, of course, if I also remember right, the guy who ended up being the preacher on Amen, he was
Mhm.
also somebody that auditioned for Lamont as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he says the foundation too many TV shows. But it also got rid of a couple TV shows, Dino. Check this out. After season one, of course, Sanford Sun was established. It used to come on Friday nights, y'all. Friday nights at 8 o'clock or 8:30. It's one of the others. Yeah, Clifton Davis. Thank you, Queen. Thank you much. And the thing was, the more popular show at the time when the show first started was that show we know as the Brady Bunch. But once Sanford and Son came on, and keep in mind, at that point, it wasn't many choices for people like us to watch on TV.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like us was watching the Brady Bunch until Sanford and Son started. Then everybody switched over to watch Sanford and Son. At that point, that ended up being the beginning of the end of the Brady Bunch. So that by the time they got to the end of season 2, the Brady Bunch went off TV altogether.
Yeah. Ain't that's when they had got the fat kid Oliver?
That was somewhere near the end of it, yeah. I mean, because Brady Bunch was on TV for a few years. We might do
Yeah.
a little separate show about them later on. But anyway, yeah, basically, Sanford Son was known. In fact, it's a TV Guide episode that says the show that killed the Brady Bunch, and it was Sanford and Son.
Opened a
And at
lot of
that
doors for
point,
too.
it's now that ABC is out the picture, and clearly the number 2 show on TV is Sanford and Son. That's when Fred was like, "Look, I ain't making enough money, y'all. I should be making just as much money as Sinead O'Connor make for being Archie Bunker." So that leads us to season 3, where suddenly Fred goes to St. Louis and he don't come back for most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's because there was a contract dispute. And of course, while he was dealing with that, he just basically went back on the road and did the chitlin circuit for the season. And of course was making more money because, everybody know him as Fred now. So when he come to
Absolutely.
your town, he was selling out places he was going. But in the meanwhile, that's where we get all the episodes with damn Grady.
He held it down too, man. Grady was on there funny as hell, man. We didn't think Grady was gonna hold it down like that, but he did, man, and he held his
Good
own. And,
googly moogly.
and like he was getting into it with Esther all the time too. They was always fighting.
Yo, fish-eyed boo.
One of the episodes you showed me too, one of the flashbacks was when they was going at it, and Lamont had to break them up, man. But yeah, it was
Right.
funny. Grady actually held it down. He did. I think he did an exceptionally well job too.
Yeah,
Uh,
Fred told me not to have you over here.
yeah,
That type of stuff. But yeah, I definitely like, it was some episodes of season 3 that was good, but it definitely was better when Fred came back.
definitely hit different when he on the show for sure,
Now,
man.
you talked about how a lot of famous people came on the show. You remember the show when Telly Savalas was on the show?
No,
Yes,
he,
Carol O'Connor played Archie Bunker. That's correct, Rose. And of
Hit me with
course,
that
y'all might
again.
remember
Refresh my
Carol
memory.
Connor from Thief of the Knife too, as the
Yeah,
sheriff. But
he
yeah,
was.
he was on the show. Oh, I know everybody remember the show when the great Lena Horne came on the show.
Yeah, I remember that one for sure.
Man, when Lena
Was that
Horne
when
kissed Fred after he gave her that money, saying that no, this wasn't no bet. This was so I could donate to your foundation. I had to trick them to come over here and give you the money.
because my man threw him under the bus, man. James Evans, he was like, "Yeah, you won the bet." He started breaking him off
Like,
right there.
bet, have a bet. She was mad
Yeah,
at that. He said that. Then she threw that kiss on him. He was like, ah. And then like, I got some more money, Miss Horn. I got you. But yeah, he loved him some Lena Horne, boy.
she was on there a few times.
Oh, okay. Then of course, you know I got to talk about the famous 3 Degrees episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people, you know, again, we not old enough to remember, but back then, 3 Degrees, they was kind of a popular group at the time. I would like equate them to TLC of that day.
Okay, that makes
That was
sense.
kind of on that level with.
You know,
Yeah, because they had some hits out at that point, you know what I'm saying? So they came on the show and then they sang that song. Didn't know you wanted to be my baby, be my baby.
I hated how the Martin Rollo was always trying to clown Fred, man. But
Like, why you got them girls feeding you? We love Uncle Fred. Oh yeah, Fred also loves some Lola Falana. Yep, you right about that. Yep, definitely that. You know what? I think it's now time. Y'all ready, y'all? You ready for the quiz, baby?
I'm definitely
How
ready.
well do y'all know y'all sample son? We got about 7 or 8 questions for you.
Tank real bad too.
No, I think you're gonna make out pretty good. Feel free to shout out the answers in the audience as well, y'all. Check it out. All right.
Help your
Question
boy out, bro, Queen.
Question 1. Where was Fred's junkyard located? What city, what state?
I know it was in California, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to figure out. God, was this? I'm trying to see now. Was it San Diego?
No, sir.
I know it was in California. Just don't know specifically where at in California.
Well, you a hip hop head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, there's a few songs where they refer to it, but that's because that's where Ice Cube was from. How to Survive in South Central.
Oh, straight.
South
Okay,
Central LA, baby. That was the name.
That definitely makes sense because that is like one of the areas back then was even rough. So yeah, that makes sense.
To be exact, yes, it was Watts,
Watts.
located in South Central California. That is correct,
You wrote
bro.
Don't hold me down. What she
Bro,
said?
definitely on it. All right, now Watts also says, Dino, yep, he on it. All right, next question. What was Lamont's famous nickname?
Dummy.
More specific, please.
He said, "What? You big dummy."
There you go. You big dummy.
I
And
thought
Queen
that was
says
his
Los
name.
Angeles as well. Yep. Yep. He always like, you big dummy. All right. Next question. Now, you remember his good friend, his friend that was Hispanic, that probably be running some ice right now. What was the pet of his friend, and what was the name of the pet of his friend?
Goat. I forgot that damn goat name.
It was a goat. That's correct. What was the goat's name, y'all? Go on, put it in the comments. I know y'all remember the name of the goat.
Hey,
What
y'all
was
hit me up with that, man. What was the ghost name? Because I know
it's gonna drive you. You're gonna be so mad when you see it. I know one of them though. What was the name of Julio's goat? Y'all know what it is. Come on. Yes, it was a goat, but what was the name of the goat, Road? I'm gonna give y'all a few more seconds.
I just didn't remember the ghost's name.
Yeah, I remember that because it was the one episode where the goat kept breaking in, eating up all the food that they was making. And then, you know, to make up for it, they had brought Fred some food called mofongo.
Yeah, he loved that.
And mofongo is actually a actual real dish.
And I heard it's awful.
He said pico. Nope, not pico. It was actually Chico. Chico the GOAT.
Chico. That's funny.
Yep, Queen got it
He was
now.
close
Chico.
though. He was close because I didn't know. I just knew he had a goat though.
Now, how ironic that eventually they came up with a show that used to come on after Sanford and Son called Chico and the Man. Yep, you got it, bro. It was Chico. All right. Now, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Fred Sanford. What was his middle name? What was Fred Sanford's middle name?
Fred G. Sanford, man. I'm trying.
There you go. You got it.
Okay.
G. Now keep in mind, the G always stood for something. You know, he always switched around. G was for great, G was for grand, G was for gigolo, whatever the case may be. It was always something. Now, what people don't know is Fred Sanford was an actual person. Fred G. Sanford was an actual person. Who was actually Fred G. Sanford in real life?
Interesting. I don't know.
Actually, keep in mind, Sanford is actually Red Fox's legal last name, okay? And Fred G. Sanford, in fact, was his real life brother's name.
Oh, that's his brother's name. That's what's
Yes,
up.
his brother's name in real life was Fred Sanford.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yep, you got it, G. So that's where they get the Fred Sanford. Did you guys know, in fact, that Red Fox got the name Red Fox because of his days of hanging out in Chicago and Detroit? Did you know he had a famous friend he used to hang out with? Yep, you got it, Ro. You got it, Queen. Do you know the famous friend that Red Fox used to hang out with as a youngster?
I'm trying to see now.
I will give you a clue. They both had red hair. That's why they was known as Red.
Was it Malcolm X?
That's correct, sir. Malcolm X was the early friend of Red Fox, and they used to hang out together. In fact, they say in the movie Malcolm X, not Red Skelton, no. Actually, Red Fox probably did know Red Skelton. He was a famous comedian back in that day also. He actually was good friends with people like Soupy Sales, people like Don Knotts, people like Rodney Dangerfield, because you know they all used to tour together.
That Vegas circuit, yeah.
Right. Don Rickles, that was another good friend of his.
Don Rickles, okay.
And it's funny because, you know, when he got on Hard Times later on, it wasn't Lamont who helped him out to some degree. It was those people that helped him out some.
That's what's up.
But, yep, okay, couple more questions, y'all. Couple more questions. Now, we already mentioned this earlier in the show. What was the famous phrase that Esther used to always call Fred when she got upset with him?
Fish-eyed fool.
You old fish-eyed fool. Yep. Yes, sir. Definitely that one. Definitely that one. All right. Now, if you ain't knowing this one, you wasn't no real fan of the show. What was Fred's favorite alcoholic drink?
You already know that Ripple.
That young Ripple.
Was it like $1.99, something crazy
now,
like that?
The thing. I didn't know till later on in life, Ripple was actually a real drink.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, she mentioned earlier about the Champipple. That's when you mix the Ripple with Champale. That also was actually a real thing back in the day. They used to mix it with that. They used to mix it with fruit punch. They mixed it with all type of stuff. Ripple was basically like from my understanding, a stronger version of wine. Yep, you got it. You got it, Dino. Ripple.
If that's something like Wild Irish Rose, you already know. We know about that.
Yeah, it was along those lines. Y'all know them cheap liquors back in the day, the Wild Irish Rose, the Thunderbird. Of course,
2020.
Hey, that was our favorite back in college days. Mad Dog 2020. Yep, you own it, Dino. You know what it is. Ripple. Because, yeah, you know what we used to do with the Mad Dog 2020? We used to mix it with the Hawaiian Punch or the Tahitian Treat and throw a little Tanqueray in there. And that was the jungle juice, baby. And, boy, oh, yeah, there go another good one. That young Night Train.
Night Train, yeah.
Oh, I got another one for you. Cold Duck. Remember that?
No, what the
Yeah,
heck
that
is that?
Cold Duck.
Cold Duck. That
Yeah,
is
Queen was
wild.
like, yeah, yes, it was. It was good too. She up on it. But yeah, okay, yeah. Other facts, y'all. Now, Fred did eventually come back to the show for season 4 through 6, and they did pay him. He never was the highest paid. I don't think he should have been, because even during all the years that Sanford and Son was on, it never did make number one, because All in the Family was number one all those years.
Yeah, you had to give credit to
Oh
that
yeah, don't
show.
forget about Cisco. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's
Cisco.
Cisco. Ooh. One night I had some Cisco, and I was with old girl. Boy, ooh, don't even get me started. That was an
Man,
adventure.
I don't want to remember half those drinks because I used to drink like a rock star, man.
Back when I was drinking, back in the college days, you got what you could afford, and them was the affordable ones. Hot $2, $3. Get that together and grab you another dollar worth of pop, and it was on and popping, baby.
We used to drink a lot of that Cooks, and what was the other cheap champagne? Was
Oh
it
yeah, that
man?
cheap champagne that cooks, and what's the other damn one? You right.
But the Martini Rossi Spumante
There
actually
you go. There
that
you
actually
go.
was a good one,
Oh, and
man.
don't forget the Young Boone's Farm.
Boone's Farm was classic, man. And then we used to drink a drink. My
Boone's
boys know
Farm Sangria. Yes, sir.
from the hood. We used to drink something the Parmesan, man. And
Oh,
we
yeah, the
used to get
Parmesan. Yes, sir. You had to have that for the late. Yep, there you go. Rose, like, don't forget that Andres. Yeah.
yeah, that was the other one.
Yep.
Because
So,
when
Fred always had some drink like that. Yo, you remember the episode when Lamont finally said he had enough and moved out and got his own crib? And then him and Rollo had the little dates over there or whatever. And then they
Fred
was,
kept coming over,
thought they still having a party, and the party was lame. So then old boy came over, he had a pot of some food. I forgot what the food was, but then he had some damn ripple in his jacket. And the ladies
remember
was like,
that?
yeah, it was all up on him.
Oh yeah, they were doing dances for Ripple.
Right, he was doing that little dance or whatever. He was like, yeah, I remember that.
They wanted to kick him off so bad.
But no, he was the life of the party that night.
Oh, absolutely. He definitely was the MVP because if he didn't come over, man, they probably would have been gone by that time.
Yeah. Oh, you remember the episode when Grady called himself about to get married and brought his fiance over there and she was a booger bear?
Oh, man.
And they was clowning her.
Grady took a big L on that one, man.
I think it was Menudo.
Menudo.
No, it was Mofongo. I'm pretty sure it was Mofongo, bro.
Yeah,
it's an onion stew with tripe.
what the heck is tripe?
Tripe is like basically the cow version of it's cow stomach.
Like a stomach?
Yeah, it's cow stomach.
So that's like a cow chitterling, huh?
Not quite chitterlings, but it remind me of that. I mean, a lot of Arabic people eat that still, the tripe. But yeah, like I said, it's just so many. Oh, remember the episode when Julio's sister came with her son and he had to get him back in school because he got kicked out?
Yeah, he was a bad dude, the little boy. He was funny.
Right.
But yeah, man, Julio's sister wasn't bad looking though, if I'm not mistaken, man. I don't think I'm tripping.
She was all right. Oh, yeah. Remember the episode with Fred's niece? And she supposedly looked just like Elizabeth. And he just loved her. And she ended up going to either USC or UCLA, one of them schools. And they played the little music. It was on that, I think Roberta Flack made that song, actually.
What was the one when Della Reese was on there too, man?
Yes, she was on there.
He's on down the road when he went to the studio, man. And yeah,
matter of fact, Mabel King, who y'all should remember as the mama in What's Happening, I remember her being on the episode.
Mabel, yeah, that name just alone, she looked like a mama from back then too.
No doubt, no doubt. Oh, Remember the episode when the lady who eventually ended up being Walona on Good Times was on there? You
Yeah,
remember that?
he went off on him when she was tripping
Yeah,
out at his
they
dinner
was
table.
loving back there, and they had hooked back up, and then her daughter came and was dating Lamont.
Yeah.
She had that 70s curly dude like a mug. He's like, yeah, we don't need no food when we in love.
Fred always called some. Well, actually, I think she was out of line for trying to check him in his crib.
Like,
So
you don't
yeah,
talk to me like that in my own house.
yeah, I definitely had to vouch for him on that one. You ain't gonna come with my mouth talk crazy.
Come in here like some old clucking hens. Oh no, that was the episode when he threw Donna out. And then later on he called back like, I'm sorry, Donna, baby.
And he was always getting into it
Right.
with Donna, man, messing around with
Right.
Esther.
Oh, remember when he had to fight for Donna's love with the other old dude? And dude knew karate and chopped his damn table. That dude was in the future. Remember, he was on the Cosby Show for an episode. Remember, he was one of Bill Cosby's card playing buddies.
Oh, I don't remember him.
Because he was like, oh, there's the rub.
Yeah, the light skinned dude kind of looked like had the ruffly hair like Grady almost, but he looked.
No. This dude didn't have no hair. He was a bald head dude.
No, I don't remember him then.
No, if you saw the picture of him, you know exactly who I'm talking about. I know y'all know what we're talking about. Man, keep the comments coming, y'all. Again, we want to know favorite episodes, favorite sayings, all that good stuff. Yeah, Smitty and Hoppy, I remember them. Yeah, the cops, it seemed like they was over there like every other episode.
But they were so
it was
cool.
Always something.
They should have had a spinoff with them two alone. That would have been great.
That's definitely something they should have thought about.
That would have been great.
That was popular. Oh, I do believe it was a point. Remember when Hoppy's mom was on the show? You remember who Hoppy's mom was?
No.
You remember the show The Beverly Hillbillies, right?
Yes.
Remember the one that played the assistant in the bank?
Yes.
Yeah, Nancy Culp. She was Hoppy's mom. They had her in for a few episodes.
But yeah, man, that's one of the classics that is gonna keep living, man, through all generations, man, because
right,
it's passed down so much, man, and it's still one of the best shows that you can watch, man.
I mean, it's just unfortunate how it all ended. You know what I'm saying? Because in the end, it seemed like it really ended because Fred was getting into debt even back then. So he constantly wanted to make more and more money for the show. And at one point, NBC was like, look, we're just not going to pay you no more. You know, you already got all this high-priced stuff going on. Because remember, some of them last seasons, they was doing like, remember the crossover they had with Hawaii Five-0? Yeah. They went to Hawaii. And it was the episode when they was in the NBC lot going around there. Yeah, remember when he met his famous self? You remember that episode? Yeah. Fred actually met Red Fox in the episode.
That's where you had to probably start to say, you know, let's put the pedal to the metal. When it started getting like that.
B.B. King was on the episode of Sanford and Son.
You know what? If I'm not mistaken, I believe so. But yeah, he had some famous people, man. And
absolutely.
He opened the door for a lot of the shows.
Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr. was on the episode of Sanford and Son, if I remember correctly.
It was a lot.
And they were very good friends in real life.
But yeah, it was just one of them shows, man, that, like you said, it opened so many doors, man, because we start to see a whole lot more black shows, you know, around that time. Because like you said, we only had like the Brady Bunch, the Partridge Family, what was the other one, Little House on the Prairie.
I mean, those were the main shows, but it was not a lot of black shows at all. Fred Sanford, like I said, it was really the first real big black sitcom because it was the first one that really had primarily black people as the cast of the show.
Yeah.
B.B. King, yep, he was on the show. You're right. And again, we talk about 1972, and then, of course, it lived in reruns. You know, to this day, they still show it in reruns. If you watch the channel, it might actually even be on right now. The Decades channel.
Yeah.
And then, what's the other channel? Hold on.
Then you got like stuff like TV Antenna, like different.
It comes on TV One. Catchy, there we go. Catchy TV. because it comes on, and then right after that, All in the Family comes on, like what's on now. But yeah, so like I said, you'll always be able to find it somewhere. But me myself, like I said, when I first saw it that day at Damon's Records, I was like, oh yeah, I'm buying that. How much is that? $29. Yeah, let me get that. And I had a whole little before binging was a thing. I was binging episodes of Sanford and Son for about a good week and a half. And then I come home from work and just watch about 3, 4 episodes till sleepy. GET TV as well, says bro. Oh yeah, George Foreman, he was on an episode of Sanford and Son. You right. I remember that one. But yeah,
It was episodes too, man. It was just like you said, the Browns they broke, man, and how if it wasn't for them, man, a lot of doors wouldn't have been open for a lot of the other comedies and sitcoms from back then, man. And
a lot of early people got their start on that show. Absolutely.
I wish we had some more relevant TV like that as we speak right now, man. Like like all black cast and something that that'll do well on networks because right now the networks are suffering, man. Because it's like, what
I
are
mean,
you
they
doing?
hardly even have any real TV shows on network TV right now, to be honest.
Like besides Abbott Elementary, it's not really much I really watch on regular TV
Right,
like
and
that.
that's about the only real outside of that and Law and Order. Them probably the only 2 TV shows I really watch on network TV on a regular basis. Oh yeah, then of course maybe the Chef Ramsay shows, but that's more or less what TV is now.
Yeah,
Reality
reality
based.
TV and stuff like that. Real World messed up everything, man. That messed up our MPTV. To this day, I'm still upset how things went with that whole
We're
situation.
probably gonna do a show about MTV one day because we kind of want to get people just don't understand how popular that was when it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It, it,
because
it made it made music pop that much. That's why in the '80s, people knew all type of artists in the '80s. That's why '80s music is my favorite because it was so much more diverse than it is now. Right now, you
absolutely.
pretty much got the pop, you got the few little rap people, then you got all the country artists. That's basically it. I mean, back in the day,
Remember,
you had all type of people in music.
because remember, I told you, Edith, I went to a school that was Carver, and Dearborn, which at the time is predominantly white. And we
Hmm.
used to go on the bus and we used to go to school. And it was like diverse because you had black, white, and Hispanic people. This was before Arabic people were really over in Dearborn. And when we was going to school then, man, we didn't have a lot of the rap. The rap you heard was people had the albums, and then that's when what was the Yo MTV Raps came out, man, and it was cool because we was already singing songs like Def Leppard and Phil Collins and some of the pop music and stuff that we heard. But when the MTV Raps came out with De La Soul, Me, Myself, and I, and Public Enemy, and all that music that came out with Eric B. and Rakim when he made the one dude, the Italian dude, kiss his ring on the TV, man. It was just stuff that just broke grounds, man. And yeah, it was just totally different TV, man, than what we was used to.
Right. And like I said, they knew Sanford and Son worked. That's why they attempted a few spinoffs.
Yeah,
Remember, what happened was when Fred came back in season 4, because Grady did such a good job in his absence, they gave him
great.
his own show, Grady. You can find that on Tubi. It was only like 8 or 9 episodes, but I kind of like that show.
He held it down, man, from the time Fred was out too, and they owed him that at least to see what he could do on his own
Right.
because he was
Now, the
good with it.
good thing was because him and Fred was good friends, once his show didn't quite make it, he let him come back on the show, which was cool. And of course, they basically wanted him to kind of be the jump off point to the spinoff. And I think really the only reason why we got that spinoff was because they was already set to do season 7 of Sanford and Son. And at the last minute, when Fred was like, "Well, no, I'm gonna go do my own thing," which ended up being the Red Fox Variety Show over there on ABC, which ironically was a replacement for the Brady Bunch Variety Show that they did when the
Mm,
Brady Bunch died out.
yeah,
Some of the same people was on that same cast that did the Brady Bunch variety show. It's just in the end, I remember seeing that show. Most of the variety shows that they tried in the '70s just didn't hit the same. Variety shows was kind of a '60s thing. You know what I'm saying?
as you said, it just didn't, go well and mesh with the crowd of the '70s, huh?
You know, the late 70s, no, they really wasn't feeling that. I mean, the only real variety show that hit during that point was probably the Donnie and Marie show. Because remember, there's quite a few people that had one at one point, Hugh. You had Donnie and Marie. You had Sonny and Cher. You had the Jackson 5. Any of y'all in the audience, feel free to throw some out there. A lot of people had a variety show at some point. You know what I'm saying? I think Diana Ross, I want to say, had one at one point. It just, it was the 70s, 80s, early, late 70s type thing. Once the 80s got here, TV was different at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, Sanford and Son, I think will live because it's one of those shows that it don't matter how old you are or how young you are, you can relate to it. There's a lot of relatable things. I mean, think about it. Fred and Lamont really represent today's caregiver child situation today. Because
Yeah,
more or less,
absolutely.
that's what it was. Because, Fred wasn't really working. Not for real. Lamont was doing all the work for real.
Much, yeah.
Yeah, Fred
He
just
was
kind of,
working out.
he kind of sold the stuff, but he really didn't do a good job of that. He just kind of sat on the porch and people came along, they bought some stuff, they did.
They bought it on the fly. He didn't really care if you bought
Right.
it or not.
Like Fred watching more TV and drinking and anything.
Mm-hmm. Man, he was just there, just sitting there while the
Right. And then, whenever Lamont talking about leaving, Fred get all sad, like, you just gonna leave me like that, son? That's okay. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. Your son don't want me no more.
Yeah, he done talked him in the stand several times until he didn't. The one time when he did,
Right. And then, of course, Aunt Esther, she was just that relative that always came to look out to make sure Fred, wasn't in bad shape. I mean, she had love for Fred for real because that was her sister's husband or whatever. But, in the end, they had love. I mean, because, it was times where even though they get to clown each other, if somebody else came in the mix or they dog walked them. No, you can't deal with Esther like that.
Because with Esther, man, I remember on episode 2, I had to think about it as we was talking. Was she in jail or was he in jail? No, he was in jail, and Esther came to come get him out. Yeah, that was another good episode too.
Oh, you remember the episode when Fred was faking like he was real sick, and Lamont had Esther and all her girls come over there with the Bibles.
Oh man,
I didn't run up out that bed.
Definitely got the cure then, man. He couldn't stand it.
Right. But no, it's bad because of how it ended and how basically how Red Fox and Demond Wilson fell out because of that. Because he really didn't give him no heads up. He was like, he was out, and that just left Lamont out there. And, they're like, well, we could do this reboot. And he was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, because I remember you told me that because I know Demond Wilson had some issues with him, but at the time I didn't really know too much into it. But yeah, that's crazy. Fish-eyed fool.
Yeah, heathen.
But yeah, man, that's crazy too, man.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, they fell out bad, man.
Yeah, you hear about that, and it's funny now how we hear about a lot of the stuff like that now. That what went on with certain things like that, and the internet era and just the podcast era is so huge now because you start to hear a lot more, and people start to tell you way more stories than what you would know in the past. Back then, you just wouldn't know until you knew, and unless the person made a book or talked about it.
Because, yeah, they definitely did a podcast like a couple years ago and talked to Demond Wilson about that whole situation and what really happened. And I hated how bitter he was about it years later. Because keep in mind, because of what happened soon after that, he did another show called Baby I'm Back. He tried that for a season, really didn't like it. And then he ended up just leaving Hollywood altogether. Now, as you know, the story goes, he eventually said, okay, I'm just going to go in a whole different direction and became an ordained minister and did that for the better part of 30 years until a couple years before he died, he got back into acting. But he basically only did like inspirational movies, gospel type movies.
Yeah. And what I would like too, Eve, when I was hearing too, and I know you heard this before because I've seen a couple of podcasts and things he was on. I didn't know. I think you might even sent that one to me when he said that most times whenever saying we are performing live in front of the studio audience, he said me and Fred had our pieces on this, man, because you never know
So they were
doing
strapped
all
up.
that, and how wild and rowdy they'll be, on set. So they said they kept a gun on them, man, just
But
in
see,
case
I
somebody
think
pop up.
it was two different reasons. I think Demond Wilson started doing that because he saw the type of characters that hung out with Red Fox, and Red
Mhm.
Fox doing that because he hung out with them type of characters. Remember, Red Fox was based out of Las Vegas, and back then in
Yeah,
the '70s in Vegas, it was wild.
how gangster it was back then.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
if you
yeah, that
remember
makes
how
sense.
Vegas came to be in the first place, it basically was off the money of all the gangsters and whatnot, and they still was a very big part of Vegas back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, so it definitely has something to do with being gangster related as well. So
Right.
yeah, it
And
made a
like I
lot of sense.
said, Fred was a big gambler in his own right. So, I'm sure that has something to do with it too. Sometimes people came to collect, like, man, you making all this money, you got it. Come up that money, he'd be like, no, you don't want this.
Especially when you're on TV all the time, and that's how they seeing you.
Right. But no, like I said, at that point, Fred was like one of the most popular people in the United States at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So
He,
yeah,
he
man.
was very famous.
It's really cool though to get the chance to catch up about a lot of the stuff like what happened on Sanford and Son and just the show itself because it was so much of a part of our black culture too, man. And that's what I respect about the show because it was like people like us, man, just normal people on hard times, man. Trying to make a living.
Right. And then, it's a lot of good stuff out there. Like I said, you can go collect the DVDs. Like, it's a lot of novelty shops. And one of the more popular items they sell is those Fred Sanford shirts where you see Fred with the apple and whatnot. I see people wearing them all the time.
Yeah, I see a lot of those shirts.
I myself can't run because I done got too big. But, once I drop a few more pounds, get back down to double X, maybe I can get me a cup.
Because we've been seeing all types of stuff from our algorithm too, like sweet shirts that we've been seeing, like that Contra shirt, man. There's a lot of stuff like that that's out there. I'm gonna eventually try to grab.
Yeah, but no, I'm surprised they didn't at some point try to reboot and make a new version of Sanford and Son. I imagine they did at some point. It just failed, and I just don't recall it in my memory. But no, it just wouldn't have been the same, man.
Not at all, man.
Fred was so uniquely himself. Plus,
So what do you think?
you can't get away with some of the stuff they did back then.
Yeah, but you would have to have somebody on the show who was like an original that made it pop too, to kind of give you that. But then yeah, I don't know if it would have worked out though.
No, I agree. Now, again, we really appreciate y'all in the comments tonight. Y'all basically showed up and showed out for us. This is the interaction we wanted when we started our concept of doing this show. So
Yes, sir.
because of that, we definitely want to keep making sure that we do more shows of the type of shows y'all like. Now, of course, y'all know once we come back, because we did decide it's better to do the show every other week. So we kind of give y'all time to go back through some of the past episodes and check some of it out so y'all can have some of the interactions like y'all had tonight. So, we won't be back next week, but the following week, when we come back, we're going to do our Martin show that we planned for this evening. But like I said, since since this
Demond
Mr.
Wilson.
Wilson's powder, yeah, it just only seemed right to do Sanford and Son because we had planned on doing it at some point anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely want to know what other shows y'all want us to talk about. So I know Roll, I believe you mentioned Living Single because you want to kind of talk about that and how friends kind of bit the buns of that, so to speak. We want to know some of the other shows y'all want to talk about. Yeah, he said, I love me some Aunt Esther. Yeah, there you go. Yep, because of course, that was part of what made the whole Friday movie jump. That whole opening scene later on, when the first thing we seen was the Wanda Page coming to the door like she was Jehovah's Witness.
Oh
And
yeah, she was fine.
Jesus in your life. And
She
he
was too.
said he was like, man,
And she was funny too because man, she did a lot of rap stuff too. She did the NWA song. She
Okay,
was
Mary said he would like to see us talk about 21 Jump Street. Okay, that's an interesting one.
yes, sir.
Holly Robinson, and of course, the
Johnny
man who
Depp.
went on to be a big time movie star in his own right. And
And
then,
that
of course,
first
there's the other kid, the Greco kid, that actually ended up being a pretty decent movie star.
yeah, he did. They had some pretty decent careers,
And then, of
man.
course, the spinoff movie from years later with Shannon Tatum and
Those are hilarious, man.
yeah,
Those spinoffs was really good, man. I ain't
right,
think they
21
would
and
beat.
22 Jump Street, right.
Then we had like some of the people from the 21 Jump Street featured in there too, which made it even funnier, man. But yeah, that was really good stuff.
Right. Now, I did hear from a couple people, Hugh.
Mhm.
Somebody said they want us to do Saved by the Bell. Another
Okay.
person said they would like to see us do wait a minute. Phone clicked off on me. They want to see us talk about the Jeffersons. Definitely gonna do that.
Oh, absolutely. That's a must.
Okay, Queen said she would like for us to talk about Star Trek.
Mm.
That's an
I'm,
interesting one. Now,
I'm
are we
hoping we
talking
get
the original Star Trek? Are we talking some of the
that.
other quote unquote
Deep Space
multiverse type
Warriors,
Star Trek?
they had tons of those Star
Right.
Trek
And then, of
series.
course, I myself definitely want to talk about the Big Bang Theory at some point. That's one of my personal favorites. Oh, there's another interesting one. What about Mod Squad, says Coach Vincent.
Hot Squad.
That was
Yeah.
an interesting show. And then, of course, they did the movie years later.
Yeah.
The movie didn't get enough, it didn't get the justice it deserved. It was a decent movie,
Hmm.
but I think if they would have casted it a little better, it would have came out better.
But the Miami Vice didn't do as good as I thought it was going to do.
Miami Vice, that's another one we could talk about. Absolutely.
I thought that really
I
was
mean,
going to jump off that
right,
movie.
since we talking about MTV, I think we get Miami Vice because of MTV
Yeah.
because
Miami
they
Vice.
did incorporate a lot of music. Yeah, Queen said the original,
Okay. Original Star
or
Trek.
the original Star Trek. Okay, we got, and that's crazy because you would have thought that Star Trek was on for years and years. It only did like 3 seasons. Ags to riches. I think she meant to put rags to riches. Yep, she did. There you go. Rags. I'm not as familiar with rags to riches. We'll have to look into that one. But yeah, like I said, we definitely want to do a lot of the more popular shows from back in the day. And we will do stuff like, of course, Happy Days and Bernie Shirley, Morgan. Sometimes we'll kind of group them together. Okay, he wants to do Columbo, the old one or the new one, Coach. I kind of like both of them actually. Because those Columbo shows kind of led to some of the movies, like the whole Knives Out movies. They is kind of based on like a little Columbo type plot where Columbo will get all the people that was involved in the room at the end and be like, "Now, see, here's who I think did it." And at first, you think he going in one direction and not. Oh, and of course, yeah, we definitely got a request for Wonder Woman. You know where
Okay.
that comes from.
Yeah. And then one man that I just thought about too, man, was a fan favorite. Well, to us, man, I don't know if a lot of the younger cats would be up on it. And they ran a remake of it, MacGyver,
Yep,
the original MacGyver.
I'm with that
Oh,
MacGyver. Kojak. Oh, another good one we could do, $6 Million Man. And of
yeah,
course, we got to tie that into the Bionic Woman because they tie in together.
absolutely.
And of course, I believe the people that made those shows also made Wonder Woman. So maybe we tie all three of them together. So yeah, like I said, we definitely want to do more show. Did we do Welcome to Derby? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, actually, we did do Welcome to Derby, Queen. Go back in the archives last week. You'll see it. We'll talk about it.
Welcome to Narmy.
That's funny.
Gary Mason.
Perry Mason, again, the old one or the new one.
Yeah, so many.
And while we talk Perry Mason, we might as well talk about what kind of jumped off later on. Because remember, the dude that did Perry Mason had something to do with the show Ironside. Y'all remember that from back in the day?
Hmm.
The lawyer in the wheelchair, Ironside. You remember that guy? And like I said, we definitely want to not just do comedies. We want to do some dramas too. So yeah, we can talk that. We can talk Rockford Files. We can talk what's the other one? Madlock,
Hill Street Blues.
Hill Street Blues, most definitely. Starsky and Hutch.
Hey, that movie was funny, dude. I love that movie, that reboot movie with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson.
Or the other reboot where you got my man Snoop Dogg as Huggy Bear.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. That one
Uh-huh.
and that was a pretty good movie. A lot of people slept on that one.
Y'all lay it out, so we play it out. All right, somebody else just hit me up. Was like, can y'all do a show about the blaxploitation movies? That would
Man,
be
you know what, man? Damn, we should. Hey, after Martin, we should focus on something like that. Cause yeah, that's something up my alley. Whoever said that good for
we,
y'all,
we
man.
might just do that after the Martin
Oh
episode.
yeah,
Do some
Rudy Ray and some of those good,
yeah,
you
so
know,
yeah,
black.
so this is
Yeah,
something for y'all to think about. Before we come back on in a couple weeks, let us know some of y'all favorite blaxploitation movies. So after we do the Martin episode in a couple weeks, the following episode we'll do on the blaxploitation movies. I'm
we
thinking
should
of a few off the top of my head. Don't forget, of course, the Mac,
Oh yeah,
Superfly,
you know, we can
Foxy
go the whole
Brown,
direction.
dog.
Yeah,
Gotta do Foxy Brown. Oh yeah, don't forget, coffee is the color.
coffee, and then
Coffee is the color
the
of
original
your
Black
skin.
Dynamite, you know, that
Right.
one.
Uptown Saturday Night.
Town Saturday Night was good, man. A lot of
Yep.
people know that movie. And then Let's Do It Again.
Let's
You
do
know,
it again. Yes, sir. Oh, don't forget, it kind of was a black
Coolie
exploitation
High.
film, but it kind of wasn't. Of course,
What about
Coolie
Coolie
High.
High?
But no, I'm thinking about Cornbread Earl and Me. How about that?
Larry Fishburne. Damn, Larry Fishburne was a kid in that movie. Ain't that
No
crazy?
doubt. No doubt.
That's where Wu-Tang got their song from, man. Black Jesus,
Of
man.
course, our man Shaft, the original Shaft.
Yeah,
Shaft in
Richard.
Africa. We can go there.
Yeah, it's a lot of black exploitation. And I'm very
Right.
interested.
Kind of an 80s version of black exploitation movie when we talk about Action Jackson.
Action Jackson. That was a good one, man.
They call me Action with Vanity Fine self.
God.
Yep, we said Cooley High Merrick, absolutely. So yeah, like I said, that sounds like something we definitely should do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good
okay.
one.
So yeah, again, I'm hoping y'all enjoy that. A lot of y'all done tuned in and commented. We so much appreciate this. Because
Absolutely.
last week we was feeling a little down after the Derry episode. Was kind of feeling like we lost y'all a little bit, but apparently we just needed to find a show that y'all had some love for to a greater extent, and we did that. A lot of
And
y'all some
honestly,
Separate and Son fans.
that's a difficult one to catch up with or keep up with too, because by you either got to really be like a mad crazy horror movie fan, or you had to been able to follow that story, man. But it's a lot to that, man. I don't think
It
people was going to
really
be able
is,
to catch on
Hugh.
to that, man.
Again, brother, I tried. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I
a lot of
just
people
couldn't
just
do
not really educated as far as to what happened, and it's a lot to it, though, man.
Yeah, I mean, because the one good thing about shows like Separate and Son, you ain't even got to see the original episode or two. You just kind of jump in whatever season and you become hooked.
Who's that in your background, man? I think I see Betty White. What you watching over there, man?
Oh, what's going on back there?
Yeah, I
Oh,
see
that's
Betty White.
I actually turned on one of the old school stations. This is the show Betty White was in years later. I can't think of the
Yeah,
name.
it's
Yes,
actually a pretty funny show.
Something in Cleveland. Something in Cleveland is the name of it.
Okay,
I ain't really watched that show, so
I'm kind of being biased because where it was at.
because keep in mind that's after the Golden Girls ended for her. That's after Frasier ended for the Daphne character, and they was two main characters, and then Valerie Bertinelli, she was the other person on that show. Y'all remember her from One Day at a Time? If y'all remember that show.
You said you ain't gave a damn where it was located. That's why you ain't like the show, huh?
Hot in Cleveland. That's it. Thank you, Rod. That's the name of it. But no, I'm old school, so I watch stuff. Again, shout out to our great friend Helena Hologram, who was the inspiration for this show in the first place. Because before me and Hugh talked TV, me and H2 used to talk TV a lot as well. We used to actually stay up in the middle of the night watching old episodes of old classic shows like Rhoda and Mary Tyler Moore Show and Leave It to Beaver and all that good stuff. So, that triggered a lot of these conversations. I love One Day at a Time, said Mary. Absolutely. Absolutely. Alice, that's another good one we could do.
What about Dear John?
Dear John, Dear John. Yeah, because remember, that was the show that Alex did after Taxi. Oh, speaking of what, you got to talk about Taxi at some point.
Yeah, because that's where my man's got his whole persona from
The great
Seinfeld.
Danny DeVito. That's
Damn,
also the show where he met his wife. Now, you know who he was married to. Well, he's still married to her to this day, actually.
Are they? Because I know they be back and forth. You never know with
Yeah,
them,
I think
man.
they're still married at this point. Of course, we talk about the lady that played Carla in Cheers. Her and Danny DeVito have been married back and forth on and off for years now.
For years. Kind of like what's the old girl's name? Kurt Russell and
Well, see, that's the thing. They wasn't never married.
oh
Him
no,
and
they wasn't.
Goldie Hawn.
I guess that they didn't want to mess things up, so they just
Right. They,
stayed.
they never did get married. But yeah, again, this was an awesome episode. Would you agree, Hugh?
I actually definitely agree with that. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, Perlman. That's it. Rhea Perlman. There you go, Ro. That's what we talking about. Yeah, I'm glad y'all TV heads is up on it. So yeah, again, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. We're probably about to call it a night here. Again, we taking the week off because I'm taking the week off actually, and everybody. So after this time next Wednesday, we'll be off for a week. But when we come back, we are definitely going to talk about. They still married, says Queen. Yep, I thought so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the show Martin. I'm definitely looking forward to that conversation as well. Martin, man. It basically Sanford and Son was the 70s go-to show. The 90s go-to show definitely was Martin. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Again, this, I don't even want to jump it off like that. We'll be on another 3 hours. But yeah, so definitely go back and again, Martin is one of them shows y'all can watch everywhere, including what's left of MTV anyway. But yeah, discussion for another day. Thank y'all again for tuning in for Two Unks Talking TV. We will definitely catch y'all next time. Again, if y'all catch this on the after show or the rebroadcast, put your comments in there. We'll talk about them next time we come on. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Until next time, Uncle Ebuck and Uncle Hugh, we about this piece, y'all. Later.